The fire ant, an invasive species that strikes fear into anyone who hears its name, is known for its small size yet potent venom. Though their sting may cause pain and swelling, the effects can be much more severe, ranging from anaphylactic shock to even death. Fire ants are considered one of the most dangerous invasive species globally, a reputation earned due to their incredible migration abilities. Each year, during the rainy season in South America, these ants embark on a massive migration. Fire ants use their antennae to gauge the water level, and when the rising waters threaten to submerge their nests, it seems as though their entire kingdom might be destroyed. However, these ants have evolved an ingenious survival strategy. Each fire ant is covered in fine, silky hairs that trap air around its body, creating an effective water-repellent barrier. The ants link together, connecting their limbs and mandibles to form a raft-like structure that floats on the surface of the water. Even their eggs and pupae are covered with similar fine hairs, helping to keep them anchored to the raft and providing them with enough air to breathe. Fire ants breathe through spiracles on their abdomen, and so, the soldier ants at the bottom of the raft must continuously rotate positions to avoid suffocating. Though they cannot swim, the power of their collective strength transforms the raft into a floating aircraft carrier drifting across the waters. Before the migration begins, fire ants ensure that no member is left behind. Once the entire colony is aboard the raft, their migration across the water officially starts. The queen ant is placed at the safest position in the center of the raft, where her body does not even touch the water. However, unlike on land, drifting on the water makes them vulnerable to predation by various species. When attacked by fish, they have no means of defense other than to hold on tightly to each other to prevent the raft from breaking apart. At times, a predatory insect from below the waterline emerges, using its proboscis to suck the bodily fluids from the ants with ease. The worker ants that bear the weight of the colony have no ability to resist. Despite these dangers, when united, even the fire ants' formidable predators have reason to fear their strength. The raft can remain afloat for days, as the ants living in colonies with two stomachs, one for their own nourishment and one for storing food to share with others, remain well equipped to survive. After several days drifting, the fire ants finally come across a palm tree, where they temporarily establish a foothold. The larger ants take on the task of guarding the area, while the soldier ants go ashore to repel any local creatures. Only when the area is deemed secure does the queen move up the tree. However, this tree is just a temporary refuge. If the water levels do not recede, the colony will continue its journey. At times, the fire ants unintentionally invade human spaces, as they did when they found themselves inside a garden rockery near a pool. Yet, any human activity in such areas can prove fatal for them. The soldier ants, having just landed, immediately begin foraging for food, though the task is fraught with danger. While red fire ants are not typically aggressive towards humans unless their colony or queen is threatened, they will react violently when provoked, relentlessly attacking their perceived enemy. Compared to their life in the harsh environment of the tropical rainforests, being near humans is like entering paradise. A simple cookie crumb falling to the ground becomes a lavish feast for the entire colony foods they would never encounter in the forest. A hearty meal is enough to feed their entire kingdom. With a steady supply of food, the fire ant colony continues to grow in strength. In a stable environment, the queen can lay up to 30,000 eggs per day. However, living near humans also exposes the ants to countless unpredictable risks. The worker ants tirelessly search for food, and within just half a month, their colony can recover to its former size. Yet humans, in their pursuit of comfort, remain indifferent to the presence of these tiny neighbors. A malfunctioning old sprinkler system can trigger a massive water surge that floods the ant colony. The worker ants hurriedly carry the eggs to higher ground. Within minutes, the entire colony is submerged. In the midst of the panic, the fire ants immediately reorganize, instinctively employing survival tactics honed during their time in the tropical rainforest. Within 2 minutes, the entire colony reconnects, forming a raft once again to escape the flood. The flood waters from the rockery send the raft plunging downwards. In the world of ants, survival events unfold every minute. What's astounding is that, even when falling from great heights, the ants maintain their connection, holding tightly together like a wooden raft without breaking apart. While repositioning may be impossible and some losses are inevitable, such losses are negligible in comparison to the future generations they can produce. As long as part of the colony survives, there is hope. Humans, despite their continuous pressure on the fire ants, unwittingly become the forces of destiny that propel the ants to a new chapter in their journey. However, if humans accidentally provoke them, the ants will retaliate. When threatened, fire ants will bite deeply into the skin and lock their bodies in place, injecting venom from their stingers directly into the victim's flesh. The pain is intense, and only those who have experienced it can truly understand. Ahead, a floating toy duck unexpectedly becomes a lifeline for the entire colony. It serves as a substitute for the palm tree that previously offered refuge. However, if all the ants crowd into one area, the raft is at risk of capsizing. In fact, the human world is far beyond the ants' ability to control. But thanks to their remarkable ability to unite and organize efficiently, fire ants manage to weather each crisis without leaving anyone behind. The raft continues to drift, eventually stopping by a drain pipe, a potential escape route. Immediately, the leading ants begin to pull the others towards the shore. As night falls, the homeowner invites friends over for a gathering. No one notices the fierce struggle for survival happening nearby. Likely attracted by the warmth of electrical wires, the ants decide to establish their nest inside an electrical box. Clearly, this was not a wise decision. What seemed like a peaceful space is full of hidden dangers. Upon receiving a distress signal, other ants rush to the rescue. But on an electrical board, even a small electric current can cause a short circuit. The electricity does not discriminate between friend and foe, affecting anyone who comes into contact with it. The ants continue to swarm, drawn by pheromone signals, and the death toll rises. Without outside intervention, the ants would be trapped in an endless cycle of death. As the ant population grows on the electrical board, the short circuit escalates. To humans, this is a minor issue due to poor wire connections, but for the ants, it is a catastrophe, a disaster that could wipe out the entire kingdom. In this instance, the fire ants inadvertently ruin the homeowner's party, sacrificing their kingdom for survival. For humans, fire ants may not be the most pleasant neighbors, but these tiny creatures never complain about their environment. They simply continue to work hard, striving to establish their colony wherever they can, as hard work is deeply ingrained in their nature.